Hey guys, I'm your host, Detroit Lenny, here with Picks and Parlays. We got another power hour for you, Friday edition, little football Friday action for you. That's when we're recording these, so keep that in mind, if you will. Don't forget, check out our friends over at Caesar Sportsbook. Bam, right there. They have a great deal going on for you. You can bet up to $1,250 on your first bet when you sign up with them. Win or lose, you'll get that. If you lose, you get it back as a free play. And win or lose, you'll also get 1,000 reward credits, 1,000 tier credit stuff, all that free picks, all that free rooms, free food, all that good stuff. Links in the description of the video. Use the promo code GTD full. That'll get you all that good stuff. Here's what we're gonna go over on the Power Hour today. We got again. I'm bringing you the bangers, folks. We got Terry Edelman is going to go over a little two-team college football parlay for us. He's also going to go over Texas A&M and Alabama, and you're going to touch base on Atlanta, Tampa Bay, NFL. Then we bring in Chip Chirimbus to talk to us, give us a little two-team NFL same-game parlay, and we're going to talk Auburn, Georgia. And then we got the boss man himself, Craig Trapp, rounding out the week, going over some BYU Notre Dame, like I like to call it, the Battle of the Mormons and the Catholics in Sin City. And then also Tennessee, Washington, NFL, and some Monday Night Football props. So without further ado, we're going to bring in first guest on the slate here. We are going to bring in Terry Edelman. Terry Edelman, what's happening, my friend? Can you hear me? You're muted.
I'm so sorry, guy. I had technical issues, but yeah, how's it going?
That's okay. That's okay. Technical issues. We've had a few of those this week, actually. So it's not you. It's this week. How are we doing? Here we are, our newest handicapper to the Picks and Parlay family. We are going to talk some college football first. You got a couple things to go. We got a two-team college football, but you also got this game. So Texas A&M at Alabama. Alabama, number one ranked school in the country. That's why that number one is on their helmet. At least that's why I put it on there. And then over under 51 here, going against Texas A&M. Before we get into this game, guys, I got to remind everybody, this is the promo for Power Hour this week. Free 7-day consensus report. That's where you get a consensus of all the handicappers, where they're looking, kind of like it's a free thing, okay? All you got to do is text this phone number, 614-810-7522. Text your full name, you'll get that consensus report. Terry Edelman, let's break into some college, shall we? Talk to me about this game.
When I looked at this game, it was pretty clear right away. Alabama is a powerhouse.
Yes.
They're a powerhouse team, 5-0, the number one ranked team at home against Texas A&M. Texas A&M 3-2 on the year, so not horrible or anything, but
right.
I think this is a bad spot for them here to come into Alabama. 24 points is a lot, but Alabama's covered that in all three home games, 55-0, 63-7, and 55-3. Yes, Texas A&M might be a step up in some of the competition they faced, but I see them covering this 24. Probably 27 to 30 points, most likely.
Fair.
And I like Alabama to roll.
There you go, roll tide. I do think Alabama wins this game pretty handedly. I don't think it's like they cover. They probably win by like 30. This game's going to end up like a 40-10 type situation. I think Alabama's defense is actually legit, legit. So, Alabama doesn't. They don't take gears off, they just next man up type situation. So we're taking the Alabama roll tide -24 from Terry. All right, Terry, I get you. Don't forget, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Picks and Parlay Power Hours here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, Terry Edelman. We got a little college football two-team parlay. I know where you're at on some of these, and where your head's at as far as college football these days. It can get a little tricky here. So we're going to talk about our first leg of the parlay. We are going to talk Tennessee at LSU. Tennessee a little favored here going into LSU. Over under 65. Talk to me about this matchup. Where are you going with this?
Well, this Tennessee team, obviously, they're one of the top ranked teams, number 8 currently. But when you think college football, even somebody for me, like a Canadian, who I'll be honest, I'm not a college football expert. Like I don't follow it as much as Americans do. I think that's probably with most Canadians. But
It's fair.
even as a Canadian, you've heard of Tennessee. You've heard of Tennessee. They're a very popular school. I think that they're going to beat LSU here. I think it probably lands on 3. I think this is going to be a really close game. And I think it does land on 3. That's why I've taken the money line here as the first leg of my parlay. Kind of the more closer to a pick'em type. My other leg in the parlay is a bigger favorite. But I like Tennessee here to start off the day. Start off the parlay with a early win.
I will say this: Tennessee here ranked 8th in the country, LSU 25th in the country, barely ranked. LSU's not what they used to be. They are rebuilding. Tennessee is just, man, I don't know. Like, they just score a lot. So my thing is I agree with you here. I don't know if LSU is able to keep up with Tennessee, but as a safer play in a 2-team parlay, I like the money line. Just no brainer it kind of. Don't lose it or push on especially if you're the second leg of your parlay is a very bigger, juicier parlay. You don't want to push on this and then go down to a 1-teamer and now that doesn't make any sense. So you take the money line because a 3 number. I don't hate this at all. Before we get into the second leg of parlay, I got to tell everybody, free the 7-day consensus report if you text your full name, 614-810-7522. Second leg of the parlay, boy, when you messaged me this game, I was like, you're taking James Madison, the Dukes are a -10 favorite over Arkansas State, over under 55.5. The reason I love this game, before you even break this game down, is that this is probably not on a lot of people's cards. And in my opinion, I don't want to say the easier part to add to the parlay piece, but it's an easier part to add to any parlay piece, in my opinion. Talk to me about this game here.
This one stood out when I was looking over the games for a team to add to the parlay. I think James Madison's defense is what's going to lead them to win this game. You could take the -10, obviously, but that 10 is still 10 points is 10 points. Yeah. But I think if you take the money line and you parlay it with Tennessee, I like that. I just think that James Madison's defense, and obviously they've started off 4-0. They've had a great start. Arkansas State 2-3. Yes, they've won their 2 home games, but I think this is probably the best. They did lose to Ohio State on the road, but this is other than Ohio State, the best team that I think they've probably faced. And I like the Duke's money line to get the win.
I will say this out of this pick. James Madison 4-0 against spread. Arkansas State, I mean, don't get me wrong, same conference, same level of teams, okay? I mean, both teams are getting blown out by Ohio State. You know what I mean? But the Dukes here are a step above in their conference. So I think they blow out Arkansas State. This ain't even close. So Terry's going to run. Here's his college football 2-team parlay. We're going to take Tennessee money line. We'll take those Dukes money line. Parlay those 2-team parlay right there. Little money line action for you, and that'll get you plus 115. And anytime you can get plus money, we're happy campers. Good job, Terry Edelman. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. As always, Picks and Parlay Power Hours here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Now we're going to move into some NFL. We're going to talk some Sunday football. Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers -10. Over-under is 46.5. I got to remind you guys before we go any further, don't forget about the free 7-day consensus report. You text your full name, 614-810-7522. NFL, Terry Edelman, this is your jam right here. This is your jam. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I'm a Brady fan. I'll start off with that. Brady's made me a ton of money. He has, and the Falcons. I think nobody was really high on this Falcons team. Everyone has this team pegged as one of the worst teams in NFL, but they've been scrappy and they have been able to keep games close. And this Tampa Bay offense just hasn't clicked this year. I think it's a lot of points, and I do think Tennessee wins, but I think Atlanta covers. And at 10, it was at 9. It's going to move, but getting the 10 is a great number. Maybe you buy it, get 10.5, but I like the 10. I think Tampa Bay probably wins this game by 4 to 7 points. I think it's going to be a surprisingly close game.
Okay. I will say this, Atlanta, as much as they're a bad team and they're just not good, they're 4-0 against the spread. So, I mean, they cover, they're kind of a covering machine at this point. Whereas opposed to Tampa is 2-2, 0-2 at home, and 2-2 against the spread as well. And Atlanta has, close. They won against Cleveland 23-20, won their last 2 games, won against Seattle. This game is always relatively close. It's kind of, a matchup that both teams kind of always dogfight it out. So I think, and to be honest with you, they're both NFL teams. You shouldn't be double-digit favorites. Not with an offense that hasn't clicked, to your point. They have not. Tampa has not clicked. And Tommy Boy seems to be having some marital issues, some home issues. So maybe that's weighing heavy on his brain. And understandably so, not knocking the guy at all. If anybody out there that's married, nagging wife could affect your work life. So, happy wife, happy life. Well, Tommy's wife ain't happy. So his life ain't happy right now, and that offense ain't clicking. So Atlanta plus the points. Atlanta's already made a teaser card for me on a 6-point teaser plus 16. So I don't hate this at all. We're going to take Atlanta plus 10 points. Terry Edelman, I appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Picks and Parlay Power Hours here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, as always. Terry Edelman, we'll see you next week on the Power Hour, my friend.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. See you later.
Take care, buddy. All right, guys. Next up, we have, one of those guys you just know in the industry, the man, the myth, the legend. I say it all the time, but this shit's for real. Who you're still going to talk. Don't forget, Auburn. We're going to talk Auburn, Georgia first, and then he's going to give us a 2-team NFL same-game parlay. And then we still have Craig Trapp coming up for the Monday night 3 free prop bets and BYU Notre Dame, the Sin City battle of religion, and Tennessee at Washington. So let's bring in Chip Tarimbas here. Chip, my man, we're going to talk Auburn at Georgia. Georgia just favored by a bajillion, 29.5, over under 49.5. Guys, real quick before Chip gives you gems of knowledge, free 7-day consensus report. All you got to do is text your full name to that number below, 614-810-7522. Chip, talk to me about this game, my friend.
Well, it's a game that I would probably never give out on the service, but I might play on my own. And a little information on this. September 1st, when I put out an early line on this game, they had Georgia 14.5. This week, they opened 30. And the difference is in the quarterbacking, without a doubt. Auburn just doesn't get there. Robbie Ashford, I thought Bo Nix was bad. I mean, he shipped out to Oregon, and you know what? The Oregon quarterback is where Bobby Ashford is from. So it's kind of a crazy thing that's going on in here, and he stinks. This kid's 54% completion. I watched Auburn; they're hapless. Georgia was lucky to escape Missouri. They really were. They had to overcome a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter, but it showed the kind of character they have. They know that they dropped in the rankings after that performance against Missouri, and I think they'll be ready to play. Defensively, they only gave up 10 points in the first 3 games, Lenny, and then the last 2 games, they gave up 22 points in each of them. The last one, Missouri. This team is too strong. They're 21-7 after an ATS loss. So even if they win and don't cover, they like to respond with a good performance. Auburn's 0-7 in the last 7 meetings against the points against the Bulldogs, and Auburn's 1-5 against teams with winning records. I think Georgia really. I think you see them scoring 50 points, and I don't see Auburn scoring double figures. If 13 is a stretch, I really don't see Auburn getting on the board against the Georgia defense. Georgia just reloaded. The Bulldogs are ready to bite, and the Tigers are in trouble here, I think.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. I gotta say, Auburn. I don't know if you get 10 points, just to your point. And as well, this is one of those rare situations where a team wins the previous week and they're still in a bounce back situation. But even though they won, that was a tough game in Missouri for Georgia. And you saw it. And yes, they fell in the standings. I think they got a little chip on their shoulder because they fell in the standings, you know what I mean? And I think it is a bounce back kind of spot for them. And I think they come out and try to actively destroy Auburn in Georgia at home. I think they win this by
I don't think
40.
They're going to call the dogs off, so to speak. I really think they're going to, because now you have to outscore these teams because other people are scoring 50 points a game, and you never can tell what's going to happen out there. You're going to need these brownie points early in the season. So I don't. You said it wasn't like this before. I mean, now these teams have to win by a measure. They really do.
Yeah, it is really how you win as opposed if you win. Now,
I mean, Stan Bennett's at 69% for Georgia. No one's even talking about him. I mean,
he's crazy.
I think this team is a little underrated. Believe it or not, all the attention is going to Alabama once again. But let's see how the defending champs do this week. And I think Auburn's hapless. I really think they're not very good, and I think their quarterback is really weak. I mean, I think he's bad.
Fair. Bad. That's fair. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications so you'll never miss Chip's gems knowledge he's just dropping on you guys. Picks and Parlay Power Hours here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay, we're going to move into some NFL here. Sunday football, Seahawks at Saints. It's one of those weird 5.5 numbers. Saints minus 5.5, over under 46. And before we get into that, free 7-day consensus report, guys, don't forget, just text your full name, 614-810-7522. Talk to me about the Seahawks and the Aints.
Well, interesting matchup off of what happened last weekend. I mean, we had Seattle as one of our rare winners on Sunday, and they went outright over Detroit. And meanwhile, New Orleans is hitting a double point off the upright in London and the crossbar. It was a great fodder. It was great for the NFL to start the national TV day that way. A little bit early for some people out here in Las Vegas at that 6:30 a.m. start. But I like the matchup here anyway because I think New Orleans has a chance here at home. That magic 5.5 number usually goes to the dog, to tell the truth, because it's so easy to lay 5.5, I believe, in my head. But the Seattle teams, my man Geno Smith is MVP. What do you think about that? 77%. I told you the guy's underrated. Career year right now. But the thing about the Seahawks, they can't sneak up at anybody with what they've done already. They've got 2 wins. I only thought they'd win 3 or 4 on the year. They've only covered 4 of 17 times following an outright win. Their defense is ranked 31st in the NFL. They're giving up 428 yards. Their rushing defense is going over 150 yards defensively, passing almost 300 yards. New Orleans has been a turnover machine, but maybe that has been solved. And I don't mean necessarily Andy Dalton. I mean the fact that Jameis Winston is sitting down because after 3 games, he already led the NFL in turnovers, and he's a machine with that. He just gives the ball up. Saints have gone under 8 of the last 11. They're 5-2 to the under at home. I think this game plays out that way. The Saints are going to have to look to win on defense. And also Seattle is 11-2 to the under on the road. For me, those numbers are hard to overcome. I think my first instinct is that the Saints win the game. They're 1-3. I think they're a better team than that. They've shown better in previous seasons anyway. But in the NFL, you never can tell. I mean, I never anticipated Seattle even having 2 wins at the season at this point. But that's where we are.
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
I'd lay it with the Saints, and it's tough to lay points and take the under. But that's the way it's going to go. It may be an anomaly, but that's how I would play the game.
That's fair. I I don't know, like the Red Rifles back in here, Andy Dalton coming in for the Saints, like you said. The Saints are a little questionable. Like their whole offense, I feel, is questionable. Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Jarvis Landry. I mean, not that he's probably not that big of a difference maker or anything like that, but I think the Saints get it done here. I don't know. Like they gotta be better than what they did at home. I don't like Seattle going, south to New Orleans as well. Travel spot, Saints and the under. I definitely love the under. That 5.5 scares me, but I don't hate this.
Everyone thought that with giving up Russell, I thought it was a plus just getting rid of Russell out of Seattle. And Geno Smith, now all of a sudden his 13th year of his career, he's like a real quarterback. I mean, he's been very, very sharp. And Seattle may surprise again, but I think New Orleans needs a win here, and I think they get it. I'm rooting for my friend, the Bayou Banger in New Orleans, and we'll be sitting there going, cheering for the Saints.
There you go. All right, Chip Chirimbus, I appreciate you. Don't forget, like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. You'll never miss any of our live shows here at Picks and Parlay. Power Hours, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. That's Chip Chirimbus. I'm Detroit Lenny. Good luck unless you're against us. We'll see you on the next time, Chip.
Thank you.
All right, guys, before we go, we still got a banger here. We still got some talk, some college football talk. We're still going to talk BYU Notre Dame. We're still going to talk Titans at the Commanders, and we're still going to go over Monday Night 3 football props. We're going to bring in the boss man himself, Craig Trapp, go over some. Craig, I've been billing this game. I don't know why the college NCAA hasn't called me for a marketing job there. I've been billing this game as a religious war in Sin City. The BYU Mormons and the Notre Dame the Catholics, something's got to give here in Sin City. Talk to me about this game. Before you do, though, guys, this is the last chance you're going to be able to get this. But giving it out all week. If you haven't got it yet, shame on you. Free 7-day consensus report. All you got to do, text your full name, 614-810-7522. Where are we going? What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine the people in Vegas are like, I got an idea. We're gonna host. We're gonna host
Hear me out.
two religious schools in Sin City. People are like, oh, they'll never go for it. They're like, let's write an extra zero at the end of that million instead of 1 million. Make it 10 million, and they'll show up. And what do you know? Notre Dame and BYU both show up, and those fan bases travel. It's going to be a lot of blue and gold and green in Notre Dame, and all the bars and restaurants going to be full in town with fans.
Vegas is kind of already a melting pot as it is. Everybody's from everywhere anyway. It's hard to find somebody originally from Vegas nowadays. But BYU, for those of you who don't know, in Utah, I mean, it's their neighboring state. I mean, it's a 4-hour, 5-hour drive maybe. It's not far. And that fan base, both fan bases, to your point, travel well. But go ahead.
I was shocked though, to be very honest, that the line was 3.5. I think a lot of people saw that Notre Dame North Carolina game and was like, hey, if they can go to North Carolina and just do they just ran the ball right down their throat. They can, they'll be able to do it. Now, they were off last week. I think that's a pretty big edge. I would basically say Utah State was off last week. They played BYU. They played Utah State, so that's not very hard. But these are two teams that I think are very evenly matched. And this is neutral field, so there's no 3 points for the home field. So Notre Dame, I think this should be a pick'em game. I'm taking BYU plus the 3 points, 3.5. I think they by far have the better quarterback. This is a quarterback that almost beat out Zach Wilson. Remember, I mean, he was playing two sports. If he didn't play baseball, this is a kid that would have beat Zach Wilson out. There's a lot of people that say that. So, I mean, this offense can score. Now, they have been susceptible to giving up some points. I mean, if you watch the Oregon game, Oregon did whatever they wanted against them. It was kind of in a tough spot. They had a brutal early schedule. When you're out of conference, remember BYU's headed to the Big 12 next year, but when you're in non-conference, when you don't have a conference, you just have to find good games. And that Oregon game was a tough one. So I think BYU wins this game. And let's just say I'm Catholic and I'm a Notre Dame fan growing up. So not as much anymore. But So I really think BYU is going to win this game at 3.5. I also think the total, I think it's a little too high. I think both of these teams want
51?
to run the ball. I think it's going to be a little lower scoring. I was thinking like 24-20, 24-21 that BYU wins, but I think the better play, take BYU plus the 3.5. I think when you comes down to it in close games, which I think it'll be a close game, give me the better quarterback. And BYU has the better quarterback.
I do a lot of same game, like 2-team teaser type situations. I do a lot of that. So like on a 6-point teaser, you're going to give me BYU plus 9.5. And then under 57, I'm going to take that all day. But I'm on BYU money line, just straight up sprinkle alert.
If it wasn't Notre Dame, if you just took the stats off and it was BYU versus another team with the same stats, BYU would be 3.5-point favorite in my opinion. But because Notre Dame bettors are so big, it's such a big public team, you have to, instead of getting, maybe even money to that plus, like I said, I think BYU should be probably a 2 or 3 point favorite. I think this is why you get it.
I love it. Guys, don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Picks and Parlay Power Hours here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. All right, we're going to move on to some NFL here. We got the Sunday matchup of the powerhouse Tennessee Titans, minus 1.5 against possibly the more equal powerhouse in the Washington Commanders, over under 43. Guys, 7-day consensus report. All you got to do, text your full name, 614-810-7522. I don't know why I want to say 8100 in there, but I just want to. Free 7 days. This is it. This is the last opportunity. You better jump all over it. Talk to me about this matchup here.
Well, when you see the Titans at 1.5-point favorite, you're thinking, is there something I missed here? Has Washington all of a sudden changed quarterbacks, or what has happened? I know they're desperate. They're 1-3, and to be very honest, they should have lost the Jacksonville game. I was on Jacksonville earlier. I watched that entire game. Jacksonville dominated 3 quarters of that game and just couldn't. They were shooting themselves in the foot. They dropped a touchdown pass on 4th down. They missed a field goal, I believe it was, or got blocked, I think it was, which one or the other. They should have won that game. This should be an O for Washington team. Tennessee, on the other hand, they start off slow. They lose to the Giants. At that time point, we didn't know what the Giants were. The Giants aren't terrible. Then they went to Buffalo on a Monday night and got trounced. Since then, 2 good wins. A nice win at Indianapolis, although, now that we know Indianapolis losing on Thursday night's not great. Maybe you don't put as much credence, but winning on the road in the NFL like they did is not something easy. I just think you take the Titans. Titans at minus 1.5 seems like a gift. Sometimes you run the other way when it seems like a gift, but I can't get behind Carson Wentz. This guy has had so many opportunities with a good Philly team, a good Indianapolis team. I don't think this is near the quality of team. Washington doesn't have near the players that he's had at his other stops. And now you think he's going to turn it around? I don't think so. I know Ryan Tannehill isn't a guy that I want to run behind either, but at least he's not turning the ball over, and he's got the human highlight, Derrick Henry, just running over people. So give me Derrick Henry, the Tennessee Titans, minus 1.5. I know Washington's desperate. I just don't think this is a spot where they get it right.
I agree. I do agree on this pick for specifically because I think that Washington is just like Carson Wentz is just Matt Ryan part 2, maybe a little younger. You know what I mean? We saw what Matt Ryan did on Thursday Night Football. So I don't think it's very good at all. I think Tennessee gets back to running the ball and just remembering that Ryan Tannehill is not the answer and Derrick Henry is, and just let him run the ball, run the damn ball.
And Tennessee, don't forget Tennessee also is they cause a lot of turnovers. That's the NFL. If you win the turnover battle, you almost always are going to cover. I mean, you're going to usually win at minus 1.5. It means you're going to cover too. So that's always good. And for you guys that worry that 1.5, you can always take a money line at probably like minus 125. I always take the minus 1.5, to be honest.
If I think they're gonna win by 1.5, I think they're gonna win by I don't expect this game to be 21-20.
Funny things happen.
Yeah, exactly. So don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Picks and Parlay Power Hours here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Now we're going to talk some Monday Night Football props. You got 3 free props for us. Prop it up here. Before we do that, this is it. I mean it for real this time. Last time I'm going to tell you about this 7-day consensus report. Just text your full name, 614-810-7522. All right. This matchup, I mean, Raiders Chiefs, it should be an explosive event on Monday Night Football. Primetime explosive event of the year. Is that true?
Sometimes the primetime games have not been high scoring this year.
Not even
The one would be the exception, right? Was the Chiefs and the Bucks. That was so the Chiefs were involved in one of the high scoring, but rest of them, I believe, all but 2 have gone under so far, including the Thursday Night Football.
It's like at 65% they're hitting at unders. And last Thursday Night Football under, man, I couldn't get all those unders, live betting unders. I couldn't. Yep. I had at one point 3 different bets for different totals on the under last night. They all cashed. Thank you. But whatever. But I'm just saying.
But I do think this could be the exception to the rule, because when you see the Chiefs, they can do so much. They can beat you running. They can beat you passing. They're pretty opportunistic defense. They can get turnovers. So they make you basically every time you play the Chiefs, you have to score. Every opportunity you have. So a lot of times you go for it and for it down.
Can't waste possessions.
You have Mahomes on the other side. He's going to score.
Right.
So I think sometimes that forces the case where you might, do things a little differently as far as go for it a little more, go for bigger plays. So I think it's going to be an exciting game. I'm going to have a best bet on that. Of course, you can always find that over at the website. But I have 3 props for you. I like Josh Jacobs over the 61.5 rushing yards. I think the Raiders know they need to be able to run the ball. When they run the ball and be able to play action pass, they're as good as any team in the in the AFC. I really believe that. When they get away from the pass and they just drop back and try to, that's not Carr's strength. He's not a guy like Mahomes that's going to carry you on his back. He needs to have a good rushing attack where, he has a little bigger windows. He's just not the most accurate passer. So I think they'll be feeding Josh Jacobs. That also means Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, which is always a double, positive for you. So over 61.5 rushing yards for Josh Jacobs. Juju Smith-Schuster, over 53.5 rushing yards. I know the day and age of spreading the ball around, that's where we're at. And you spread the carries around for running backs. You spread the receptions around. But I think Juju Smith-Schuster, he's the guy that's kind of filled in here, picked up the pieces here. And I like his over here. I also think the over receptions, of course, it's not out. We're filming this on Friday. It's not out. It's probably going to be in that 3.5 to 4.5 range. I would like to over on that as well. But the yards is out. So we'll take the over 53.5 rushing yard or receiving yards for Juju. And then Patrick Mahomes, they find such creative ways to get him passing touchdowns where they do those little flips in the, to the tight end.
Like shovel pass type situations.
Right.
Yeah.
Where he's not necessarily always just, throwing it down the field or even in the red zone. A lot of times they just find creative ways, guys that are receivers crossing, little flips, all those count as passing touchdowns. So I think over 2.5 touchdowns for Patrick Mahomes. The performance he put against Tampa Bay, people don't forget about it. I think too many people were saying, hey, these other quarterbacks out there that are closing the gap, or maybe the best quarterback, Josh Allen, a lot of people said, Herbert, a lot of people said, hey, I think he put the, stamp down, says, hey, don't forget about me. Don't take me for granted. I am Jordan in my prime, just now in his prime. So it's like, he's not going anywhere. I think he proves it again tonight on Monday Night Football in a primetime spot. So those were the props I like for Monday Night Football. Don't go crazy because the best bets, side plays are always best. But these make it fun, and you can always, and now the books allow you to parlay these as well. So that can really juice it up as well.
Absolutely. I do like touch base on all of these real quick. I do like the Patrick Mahomes one because they do a lot of safe routes for him, safe passes like a screen pass, shovel pass, that crossing routes, quick slants, stuff like that. Then that opens up that deep ball. Then you know he's going to take that a couple of times. He has no problem taking those shots. So, he's going to get his. Juju gets his. Juju, I think, was a great addition to Kansas City. And I think Kansas City heard all that noise in the offseason. Ooh, Russell Wilson, Denver. Yep. Ooh, the Raiders are going to be so good. And then Kansas City went, hold on. You guys remember, this is our division here. Yeah. And so, we lost Tyreek and now we're terrible. And I think that chip has been on Kansas City's shoulder. I think Vegas wants to compete in this game and keep it somewhat close. They have to run the ball. This has to happen. Josh Jacobs has to get his. Because if Derek Carr doesn't have time in the pocket and he doesn't have a running game, then he's bad quarterback. If you give him a little bit of time, Derek Carr is no different than Jared Goff, in my opinion. He's good if you give him time, but if you pressure him, could be an issue. Kansas City defense is underrated.
He doesn't have the weapons that Kansas City has either. So it's like,
right.
If you have 5 guys that can all like break it, that's one thing. I believe they really they went out and got Adams and they thought that was just going to fix everything.
That was the end of,
They still have offensive line issues. That's the facts. They have offensive line issues. Those don't get fixed with adding a receiver last time I checked.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me check again. Nope, still not. Guys, don't forget, like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Picks and Parlay Power Hours here Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. As always, I'm Detroit Lane with Picks and Parlay. That's the man right there, the man, the myth, the legend, for real. The boss man himself, Craig Trapp. We'll see you on the next Power Hour. Till then, good luck, unless you're against me.